Hello, everyone, and welcome to my presentation on CRM for the mid-sized company and implementation approach. I was asked to answer the question, if I were the director of IT for a mid-sized company, how would I approach CRM for my company? I decided to take this from the implementation approach of CRM. And the reason that I decided to take it from an implementation approach is that I really feel that all of the various phases and things that are needed to execute an implementation of a CRM system are all of the things that you would want to consider for CRM in general and as a whole within an organization. So, some of the things that really stood out to me as I thought about the answer to this question, and some of my own experience in CRM implementations, is that a CRM implementation is really no different than doing a full enterprise system implementation. It really carries a lot of the same concerns and pitfalls and challenges that you have within doing a full enterprise system implementation. But if done correctly, the CRM implementation can become a never-ending project, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in an upcoming slide. But again, as I mentioned, you still face a lot of the same pitfalls, and you really want to try to avoid those top 10 challenges that we learned about this week. And that being, ensuring that you do have well thought out decisions as they align with your business practices and other systems within the organization. Looking at and ensuring that you don't have a lot of customizations within your implementation. Looking at the consequences or how you would deal with merger and acquisition data and users as that activity occurs and you need to bring them into your CRM solution. Understanding the fundamental architectural changes, just not system wise, but the complexity of even organizationally. And if you have, remote offices that you have to consider or business units that are around the globe that you have to consider as well. Dealing with the cost pressures, you still have that. So if for some reason there are budget cuts and you have to rip out a module, how does that ripping removing of that module, what type of ripple effect does that have through the rest of the system or even the rest of the organization really with processes that may have been re-engineered around that module that is being pulled out of the system. You do have to deal with skills shortages, so a lot of times in the CRM implementation at the beginning or initial stages of CRM, you don't have a lot of people that know the system, have the knowledge. You don't have data stewards necessarily in-house. And so, you have a skill shortage and you have to overcome that. You have vendor M&A activity as well, and so their mergers and acquisitions will affect their product, and that will ultimately affect you as a customer. You also, again, have to deal with global or multi-brand enterprise situations, so if there are multiple brands, across the world and how all those brands utilize the CRM system will be important to look at or a challenge that you have. And then the big resistance to change. Most people are resistant to taking on new systems, learning new things, and so you have that challenge as well. When doing this CRM implementation, there are various phases that I like to look at. And I have about 7 phases that I would go through in the CRM implementation. Starting off with a vision phase, a strategy phase, an execution phase, a testing phase. From there into a transition to live operations phase, a transition to support, and then last, monitor and support or monitor and improve, I often like to call it as well. And we'll look at a couple key phases here. We won't go through each one of these phases, but just wanted to bring that out and show you guys. But we'll look at a couple other key phases so that you guys get a chance to see what the importance of those phases are. So within vision phase, we really want to outline the value of CRM to the company. And we want to decide kind of overall, are we going to go with on-premise or in the cloud solution as a direction? And we really want to learn more about the business itself, its operations, its structure, its processes, its procedures. This is where, we would sit down and really talk with the various business units and, dig deep into, how they do things so that we could better provide a CRM solution that really meets their needs. And then we also want to understand what are the key success factors and outline those key success factors, not only for the project, for the CRM solution itself. Within a strategy phase, we really want to look at, defining what type of support is needed from executive leadership. We want to define which software features will be implemented or configured. We want to define application support and training needs, right? Create subject matter experts within the various business units that can help augment some of the support as well as help to provide training out to the various users. Identify users and administrative training needs. Administrative training is a little bit different than just normal user training. And so we want to make sure that our administrators, get the necessarily training that they need. Hire a third party company would be one of the things that I would do in this strategy phase. They serve, for a few reasons. One, they do help to augment kind of the skills problem that you may have because usually their staff is familiar with the solution. Not usually, but their staff is familiar with the solution that you're implementing. But they also serve as a third party, kind of independent bystander. They don't have to deal with the company politics. And so, as we're talking to the business units, they can get real answers and ask some questions that you don't often get when using internal resources. And then last but not least, within the strategy phase, we want to really outline data management and data governance needs. Really important, within an enterprise system, but definitely within a CRM system that we have really good data management and data governance. So if we look at a couple of these in a little greater detail, one of the things I would do with executive leadership is, I would invite them to participate in meetings, participate in our intranet hub sites. I would create an intranet site for people to further learn more about the project, where we are in the project, and collaborate on the project. But I would also ask our executive leaders to participate in sending out weekly messages about the project to users to show their support of the project. Give status updates of where we are within the project life cycle and what's to come. Really get users excited about the project and hopefully lessen their fear about the change that they're about to undertake. Additionally, defining the software features that need to be implemented. Very important that you really look at minimizing customizations as much as possible. The goal here is really to ensure that, the system functionality will meet current processes, and where there are gaps, look at potentially reengineering processes or looking at how to augment that process so that you can move forward with the system and not really have to customize. Additionally, we also want to identify, support training and needs, and talked about this a little bit already from, creating subject matter experts. They would act as the first point of contact for the users, provide training to the users, really become, a voice on enhancements to the system as well. They would also, we would also seek within this phase or this item to augment support with, the support that we get from the vendor. They have subject matter experts within their support department, and we want to utilize that to help us learn and get the help that we need. And then last but not least, really through the UAT testing, really ensuring that, we learn as much as we can through UAT from our users. Next, we also want to ensure that we pay a lot of attention to data management and governance, right? We want a clean system. We want to ensure that we have proper deduplication processes in place. So we don't want, two different or two customers with different information sitting in the system and it's really the same customer. So we don't want duplication and we want to define data rules and really give the authority to our data stewards for maintaining and controlling a lot of the data in the system. As we get towards the end of the project, we really want to monitor and improve and support the CRM solution. And so, some of the things that we can do in that area, that I would do in that area, would be to make sure that we're tracking against the defined KPI statistics and service levels, ensuring that we have a high quality system and support team, for our users. During the first year, I would consider doing quarterly updates on approved new features, just so that we keep the system fresh and also make sure that any issues that need to be resolved are updated and resolved quickly. After that first year, I would probably move to bi-yearly updates. Just considering the fact that it's hard to stay on top and maintain quarterly updates for a long period of time. And then last but not least, get new features from users, which ultimately would create new projects. And so the CRM solution is almost a never-ending project because as new features come out or changes or even bugs that users may find within the system, changes will need to be made, projects will need to be created to handle those. And so the CRM becomes your never-ending project. So thank you for your time and listening. Have the discussion questions here. So you can pick between one of these two questions here. Look forward to your answers to the questions and thank you very much.